Hey guys, happy Friday. Working this 2008 Doosan, and I got my Nationwide logo a little bit too long. I shouldn't say I got it long, it is long for this particular car. So we're trimming this guy down a little bit. Gonna put some decals on the sky. Hope you guys are doing well this Friday, June 16th. Gonna get this on here, line this guy up. That looks better. So the decals for this particular car, designed by Radke Racing, I've said that before, but they're very thin. So this is like a different from your Pato Silk Ink and Laser Sharp. These are probably more along the lines of the Laser Sharp type decal. And when you're working this car, you know, you just got to be a little bit extra careful working with them because the decals are thin. So yeah, even cutting them out and everything, you just, like anything, you want to take your time, be careful. But generally with these, you can cut right up against the decal. It's a little bit different, I think, from the Silk Ink, which you kind of don't want to really cut through. You can cut through these; it's no big deal. But we're gonna get this driver's side on here. One nice thing about this decal set, and I appreciate Mr. Radke doing this, but these are some extra decals here, this green and these two shades of blue, just extra in case they're needed anywhere on the car, and that's always welcome. It's always welcome to have that. Generally you don't need them, but in some cases you may make a mistake, and these could be very helpful, especially that green. You can see how I've got it laid out so far. Getting these decals on here, and then there's decals that go across the bumper, and then you can start laying in your other sponsor decals and your headlights and your little fog lights and things like that. So it's kind of put on in layers, and you want to try to get your spacing as best as you can to line up across from one side to another. Sometimes these decals are kind of hard to get to lay over a curve. You kind of have to work with them. I got a little crinkle right there. Not the end of the world, but even still, that's sometimes you gotta work that. Across the back here, you can see how this tailors up, and the rear bumper. Obviously, I don't have the tail lights on yet, but that's what she looks like on this donor car. So let's see, my Doosan here is going to go like so. So I can trim a little bit across there. Let's see, that might come this way a little bit. Alright, so I don't really want to trim too much, actually. Just looking at trying to pre-trim some of that across the bottom, and then I've got this coming up here on the window. I can cut a little bit off there. I'm going to have to trim it after I get the decal on, but I can take a little bit off now. That I know I'm not gonna need. So just a little bit here. And these decals are relatively, I've said they're thin, right? But they're relatively quick to wet and get ready to put on the car. So that is one nice thing about these decals. You don't have to let them soak in the water as long as the silk ink. That's for sure. So let's try to get this. This is just all one piece here. Yeah, you don't want to crease these decals. There's a little bit less forgiveness there. Don't really want to bend these things around a whole lot. And let's cut this here. Oops. Okay. This guy in the water. Okay, so now see there's this like little blue line that runs up there, so I'm going to be careful with that guy. Let him be part of that piece there, like so. Now we'll cut this out here. Okay. Okay. When I cut this, I did cut into here just a little bit because it curves up around for that wheel well. But I think we're ready. Get this guy in the water. Okay. Try to be careful touching it with these metal tweezers as well. I don't want to scratch the decal. See a fuzzy there. What am I doing center-wise? this guy. Okay. It's pretty good. Let's get this nationwide thing here. Just a few minutes in the water. Okay. All right. Looks like this is ready. Ooh. So that was trying to fold up on me. And I hate these things when they fold over on top of themselves. So, because they're so thin, they have that propensity to do that. So I just going to grab this whole thing here and bring it over to the car. And then I'll slide it off of the decal here. Or I will try to. Okay. Like so. Kind of get some of this excess water out of here. I think I've told you guys this, but I've gone to distilled water. So I bought a gallon of distilled water at Walmart. And I just keep that gallon underneath my table here. And it just doesn't have the residue that you have from your tap water. So, been using that the last few months. I like it. I like it. Sometimes you'll see, or I would see, like water spots on my, dark colored cars, my black cars and stuff. Just from the tap water, and they obviously load it up with chemicals to make it drinkable, even though it's probably not the best water to drink out of the tap of your faucet. But the distilled water is, obviously it's not something you want to drink, but it's, I think, a good option for working with these Waterslide decals. Okay. Alright, so let's see. I want to do this Goodyear last. I tell you what, let's get this piece on first. And yeah, there's no way I'm gonna lift that from there, so let's just do this. this way. And then I'll kind of hold it with my thumb here. And we'll grab this. Oops. We'll grab this here, just kind of hold that there, and we'll pull this away, this way. Like so. Okay. And then we'll gently move this guy into position. Like that. Okay. And then we'll try to work this guy up and over. So one of those lessons learned that I had from the first time I made this car was I had this piece right here too far forward, so I needed to bring it back just a little bit because I had to splice in a green piece from here so I could get these to line up. Well, now that I've moved that back, this can line up, and yeah, no piece needed. Get these in here like so. Squeeze the water out. Bring those together there. I don't normally use microsole on these types of decals just because they're so thin, and they do fold over okay, but sometimes they will wrinkle a little bit, but I've noticed that if I use the microsole, they tend to fold and wrinkle more. So I try not to use the microsole with these decals. They're thin enough, really. And sometimes it gets, yeah. They start getting dry. Just get a little water on there, and this little guy kind of loops up here. Got to be careful using these metal pliers. They will rip these decals here. So you have to kind of press lightly, gently, get those into place, or you will scratch it. Got here. this little guy on here. These things like to fold over too sometimes. Little Goodyears. Like that. You see that little guy whip around? Try to double back on itself? Ugh. Come here. Yeah, that blue stripe goes right above that Goodyear logo. Now he's a little bit crooked. Well, maybe he's going to have to be crooked. Yeah. Okay. Got a little green crinkle there. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this side done, get these on, get that right side done as well. Finish this guy up today. Yep. All right. I don't really want this touching here, but I need the Doosan straight across. So kind of like so. As good as that brush is, it's not much better than your thumb to get that water out. Alright guys, kind of a long working video today. Probably not the most exciting, but that's sometimes what you're involved in with this hobby as you're working, trying to make these custom cars that you can't buy anywhere. Sometimes it's a little mundane, but that's the work that we're involved in if you're a custom diecast maker. Let's close this video out with a Bible verse. If I can grab it here. And guys, we have reached the end of my Bible verses. This is verse number 61. My last card. Gone through all 61 of my cards here. August 9th, 1999 is when I started memorizing this traveling Jesus, Luke 8:1. Why? What? Jesus? What? It's weird, right? Traveling Jesus, Luke 8:1. And it came to pass afterward that he went throughout every city and village, preaching and showing the glad tidings of the kingdom of God, and the 12 were with him. She's like, Doug, why would you memorize this verse? Well, what struck me about this particular verse, Luke chapter 8, verse 1, is this is what Jesus did. He didn't stay in his town. He traveled from town to town. And I'm sure people wanted him to stay as he healed people and he spoke and did good works and miracles and such. But he traveled. Every city and village. What did he do? Preaching and showing the glad tidings of the kingdom of God. Sometimes people think becoming a Christian is boring. It's not lively. There's no fun. But note the peace of God that captures your heart and brings great joy and gladness to you through the difficulty and sometimes misery of life. And then he did that, and the 12 were with him. Jesus was always leading, discipling, mentoring. That's what he did. He kept the 12 with him, and they saw what he did for those 3 years and learned to carry on the work when he passed on. Of course, then was resurrected. All right, guys, God bless. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.